question 5 was a proof by contradiction that there are infinitely many primes. And this is actually taken from the textbook, so you can have a little read of that as well. I just want to point out a few things, right? So a proof by contradiction always starts with an assumption, and it's an assumption of the negation statement of this. So you always have to point out that you're making an assumption. So it's not just a statement. We're assuming that there is a finite number of primes. Number of prime numbers. So say you have to state it as an assumption, okay? Because it's not actually true. We're gonna disprove this assumption. So if we this proof goes, if we list all the prime numbers, so if there's a finite number, then we can list them. So let's call them P1, P2, P3, etc. until the last prime number. Because there's a finite, there's going to be a last prime number, so Pn. Now, if we times all these prime numbers together, then the product of these prime numbers is going to be divisible by all these prime numbers. That makes sense. Okay, so the product of all these prime numbers is going to be divisible by all of these prime numbers. So therefore, that number isn't prime. But if I now take this product and add 1 to it, then it's not divisible by any of the prime numbers. So let's call this number n, and we can say that n is not divisible by any of the prime numbers, so P1, P2, P3, all the way up to Pn. But if n is not divisible by any of these prime numbers, then either n must be prime, or n must be divisible by another prime not on the list. So either n itself is prime, or it's divisible by something else, because everything has a prime factorization. It must be divisible by another prime, which is not on the list, which contradicts my initial statement. So this is a contradiction. Therefore, there is an infinite number of primes. This is a proof question, and so it's really important that you lay out your work very clearly and make it a little bit more legible than mine. But they do like to dock marks just for the littlest things. So, for example, as I mentioned at the start, you have to say it's an assumption. You are assuming that there's a finite number of primes. You must lay your work out so that it follows. You can't skip any steps. So they're really fussy about how they give marks for proofs. So just watch out for that.